recasting a critical character. Are the Celestials still relevant? And yet another poor performance for Marvel Phase 5. Welcome back to the Shenanigans, guys. I am your host, Tommy Tsunami. This week on our Marvel Rewatch, we will be watching Captain America Brave New World as we head towards the end of Phase 5 and into the current Phase 6. We'll start off with the good, the bad, and the ugly, as we always do. Starting off with the good, there's not much here, guys. We find out Thunderbolt Ross does want to rebuild the Avengers. Seems really cool at first. Great idea to kind of rebuild Captain America, all of those people as well. Seems like a cool idea. We'll get into why it's not later on in the video. Cap's new suit is made with Wakanda tech, which is pretty cool. A lot of cool new features, that kind of stuff, considering Sam does not have the super serum. We do kind of go on that whole thought process later on in the movie as to whether he should have taken it, shouldn't have taken it. That's kind of one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't things there in the MCU. I know a lot of my friends have kind of mixed thoughts on how that should have played out. We finally get adamantium introduced in the MCU, not just with Deadpool and Wolverine, but the actual mineral. We do find out that we are basically fighting for all of the adamantium on the planet that we are aware of. That's basically the whole overarching story here, besides Sam's struggle of being Captain America, which isn't really a struggle in the long run. We do get Giancarlo Esposito joining the MCU, and as always, he absolutely kills it. He has played some of the most iconic villains in cinema, from Gus Fring to Moff from The Mandalorian, as well as many others. Giancarlo Esposito, A+ performance I'll give him in this movie. Thunderbolt Ross's security head is an ex-widow, trained in the Red Room, all of that. So we do bring back a nice little nod to the Black Widow movie. And then, are the Celestials still relevant? We're going to end the good there because it's kind of a good and a bad. I don't know how I quite feel about them necessarily focusing on it. Yes, it's a giant celestial that came out of the earth, so we have to kind of acknowledge it. I don't know why it took so long to acknowledge it, though. And is it still relevant? Are we going to get a Return of the Eternals? Are we going to dive more into the Celestials come Phase 6? That is still yet to be seen, as we're only one movie into Phase 6. So that's kind of a toss-up there as to how relevant they are going to be. But I do like that we acknowledge this giant celestial being that's come out of the earth. Magically, it's full of adamantium. That's where it's on the fence for me. But let's dig into the rest of the bad. The recast of Thunderbolt Ross to Harrison Ford, while using a terrible joke about the mustache, not a fan of it. We had the same Thunderbolt Ross for all these years, and now we just suddenly recast him and make a joke that he just shaved his mustache. And that's why he looks so different. Ross also is talking to Sam and asks the question, what if we disagree about something? Thunderbolt Ross says, we'll discuss that between us, and then immediately, first disagreement they have, he's like, nope, get out of here. He just kicks him out. Just nope, wants nothing to do with him anymore. We all knew Thunderbolt Ross was not the most sane person, but we really dive into that, especially finding out he is Red Hulk. He's got the gamma in him, so to speak. So we do learn where flying off the rails does make sense with Thunderbolt Ross. We have Sam stopping the flagpole with his arms and not breaking his arms. If the Hulk is swinging a flagpole at me, whether I've got a jetpack or not, if I put my hands up to catch it, my hands are going to be absolutely shattered. My arms, my hands, every bone is going to be broken. Not sure how he managed to do that without having superpowers. Something they could have done a little bit better on, in my opinion. The overall movie did have a lot of pacing issues as well. So when everybody gets mind controlled by Samuel Stearns, we find out basically 5 minutes after it happens. The old Captain America, which if you have not seen Winter Soldier or Falcon and Winter Soldier, you probably have no idea who that character was. He was the forgotten Captain America. We understand Sam obviously doesn't believe he's truly the one that tried to assassinate the president. He has a hunch that it could be mind control, and Ross's security head figures that out when what feels like 5 minutes later in the movie. We could have flushed that out, made them work a little bit harder for it. It was also only about an hour and 45 to an hour and 50 minutes. So it was a little bit on the shorter side for an MCU movie, which is good and bad for that movie. Did need a little bit more time to really flush out the story, but it wasn't a great story either, so I wouldn't have wanted to sit through 2.5 to 3 hours of it. So that's give it a take. Yes, a little bit more time could have helped flush out the story, could have helped with the pacing issues, but I don't think it needed to be a long movie either. It wasn't a good enough story for me to value a 2.5 movie out of it. 2.5 hour movie, we would have just been, I think it would have been a little bit too long. We also get like 5 minutes of Red Hulk throughout the whole movie. Not really happy with that, considering the entire trailer had 4 or 5 different scenes we were supposed to get with Red Hulk. So we definitely got let down there. Also, the trailer kind of just ruined the movie and told us the whole movie. The trailer had everything from Red Hulk to, it basically had the beginning, the middle, and the end of the movie in the trailer. Watching that trailer, you're excited. You're like, cool, we're going to get a lot of Red Hulk. We're going to get Captain America fighting Red Hulk for a lot of the movie. And Ross being the Red Hulk was supposed to be the twist at the end of the movie. Why are we putting him all throughout the trailer? So that, to me, when that movie came out, I was excited for all that. We were going to get this cool movie with Red Hulk. We were going to get an awesome story. The whole story was the trailer. So that was one of those movies the MCU could have done a little bit better with the trailers. And on to the ugly. The ugly, there's only one, and it's Samuel Stearns. And we have to put something in this category, considering all of the mutation that had happened to his body from the gamma radiation. Not really a great character. He's very shallow. Very just, I'm doing this to be evil. That's about it. He didn't really do much. We didn't get much of a story from him. And then on to our end credit scene and our overall score of the movie. Wasn't a very long end credit scene. It was Stern in his cell, on the raft, talking to Sam about the quote-unquote others. What happens when you run into the others that are willing to do the same thing? In other words, hey, we have a multiverse, which we already knew that. Unless you hadn't watched a ton of the TV, you may not have been fully aware of the multiverse, but I think we went pretty hard on, hey, this is a multiverse in Ant-Man Quantumania. But that's neither here nor there. We're really pushing that multiverse and just, hey, this is where we're going with it. My score for the movie is a 5.5. Not very good. A lot of pacing issues, like I said. Story was not very good. A couple cool parts, don't get me wrong. But me overall too, I just don't think I like Sam as Captain America. I understand why they gave him the role, or actually why they put him in the place of Steve. He's the honorable character. He's going to make the right decisions. He's not going to be swayed either way. So I understand why. But not personally a fan of it. I was not a huge fan of Falcon and Winter Soldier either. It did dive into a cool story about Sam Wilson, but I can't get behind him as Captain America myself. So 5.5 out of me for this movie. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought. Did the trailer ruin it for you as well? What were your thoughts on the recasting of Thaddeus Ross? Let me know. Share this video to all your friends, your families, your mamas, your daddies, your aunts, uncles, everybody you know. Heck, even your little nephews and nieces. As always, we've shenan once. We will shenan again. Thank you, and we'll see you next time, guys.